What's going on, guys? It's another episode of the Talk About It podcast. I'm Lauren Fulmer.
I'm Victor Dantas.
Victor Dantas.
Victor!
And then we have our guest today. We got AJ Reynolds, creative director for Clear Profit, pastor, father, great dude. We're going to talk all types of stuff.
Can't wait.
We were talking Father's Day. It was just last week. Why not get three dads together and talk about some of that fun and excitement.
Happy late Father's Day, boys.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day.
Did you have a good Father's Day?
It was awesome. Are you kidding me? It was great.
Yeah, mine was great too. How about you? Your first Father's Day?
Yeah, was great.
Everything
I took Julian to lunch. He was sleeping, but I mean, he had fun.
Where did he take you?
To Iron Spike in Galesburg. Okay. What did you do?
What did I do?
Yeah.
So, pastor at Highpoint Church, got to preach.
Sure.
It's my favorite. So got to preach the word. Had a family reunion, which was awesome. Got to hang out with the larger family, which was great. And then went to see, I don't know if you guys have seen the new Flash movie at night. Dude, it was great.
We almost did that.
Dude, it was good.
We almost did.
On Father's Day?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah. We ended up going to that music festival I was telling you about in Galva. They do these every Sunday, 6 to 8, 2 artists.
Flash movie.
Family friendly. Have you seen it?
No.
Dude, it was good, man.
What's Flash is the
like a Marvel
cartoon? Oh,
I get them all twisted. DC, Marvel.
Hey, man. Hey.
I'm not the guy.
Don't cross the streams, bro.
I know. I get almost smacked every time. Don't you dare.
Yeah, it's a religion for people, but yeah, man. Like my kids love watching the Flash movies, so
Flash. I know Flash.
Got to take some of our kids to go see that. It was, dude, and then got to get Steak and Shake after the movie. Ooh. Come on, double steak burger fries. Come on, it was good. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah. So what age group are your children?
Yeah. So daddy ready for it? 6 girls.
No
6.
way.
Yeah.
So you're the only dude in the house?
That's correct. That's correct.
Oh my gosh.
Hey man, here's the line that I tell people: where God sees a man, He doesn't send a second one. All right.
Ooh.
So, like there it is. Right? Yeah. So we got 6 girls. My oldest is 16. My youngest is 5.
Okay.
So age range there for sure. But
I call that a built-in babysitter.
Amen.
You got that covered.
You're not wrong.
Right?
You're not wrong.
Yeah. So between the 6 girls, isn't it so crazy how different kids can be?
100%.
You know, you got the same mom and dad.
100%.
And like one maybe an emotional wreck, one has no emotions at all. It's just so crazy how different kids can be.
And you've got how many kids?
I have 2.
You've got
a
2 kids.
14-year-old boy, almost 15, and a 12-year-old girl.
Right. That's who I met at Target that one time.
Yes.
Right? And then
1.
But how many are you gonna have?
1.
Come on.
I don't know. How am I gonna say? I don't know. How am I gonna know?
1 and
King
done.
Julian. King Julian's the man.
He's the one.
Victor finds out how expensive those kids are. He said, "I'm done, bro. I'm done."
These are budget breakers.
It's been 5 months. I don't sleep, so I can't complain though. I like it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
Enjoy it. Yeah,
there's no better gift, man. There really isn't.
100%.
Just like getting, my kids are at that age now where like you're getting, like that real feedback, like, Dad, thank you for what you're doing for me. And, I see it. And the best, they have friends they're talking to and they're like, man, my dad doesn't do anything cool like that or, whatever. So it's cool to, when your kids start, you can tell they're picking up what you're putting down.
Look at you. You're so hip.
It's cool.
See,
I know.
My kids are the ones going, Dad, Lauren does all this cool stuff with his kids. And I'm like, what? Go be Lauren's kid. I don't know. But
I'll take them.
No, but you've moved. So there's like stages of parenting, right? So you start at like a very like discipline oriented. Yeah. You've got to like make sure they get the rules, like it's birth to, I don't know, like 5 or 6, something like that. And then it's like training to make sure they're not just knowing the rules, but they're actually doing them. And I like how Jordan Peterson talks about in his book where he says like, you need to raise kids that you want to be around. So like this is part of that training process of like, they can't just do whatever they want. They shouldn't be ruling the nest. They're not in charge. You got to help them, but you do it in loving, caring, shepherding. Right. But then after that, so this is like, I don't know, like junior high, maybe even high school age, like then you're in coaching. And it's like, okay, but not just who do I think you should be, but who do you think you should be? And that's kind of the stage that you're at right now. Like you're seeing it, you're coaching it, you're seeing affirmations in that, they're experiencing it. And then the next stage for us will be like when we send them off. And it's like, now we're friends. in the friendship stage. And every single stage is different. It needs and requires us to be different men and different dads, and care for our families in different ways, but nonetheless, we don't love them any differently. But it's cool that you're in that stage, man. It's a good place to be.
I actually just had the talk with my son. In fact, it was the day before Father's Day, I believe.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was the day before Father's Day. And I'm talking to him, my daughter and I, she's like an extrovert, talks, and my son is just kind of a man of few words.
Yeah.
And as a father, you're like, dude, I want to know how was your day? He had just been gone for a whole week of summer church retreat.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm dying to pick him up. Like, how was it, man? Good.
Fine.
Okay. Did you meet anyone that wasn't from the school? He's like, Caden. Well, what's cool about Caden, bro? Like, I'm like, come on. Like, can you throw me a bone?
Yeah, nothing.
And what was really cool, honestly, is I uncovered that day with him on why it has been a struggle for me to pull words out of him, is because he shared with me, he's like, Dad, I feel like every time we talk about something real, it turns into this lecture and it's like 20 minutes. And I was like, dang, like, I'm so glad that you shared that with me, because
is that true?
It's got to be true.
Yeah.
100. So I'm talking to my buddy afterwards, who he and I, he's got a kid. We always kind of do stuff together with our kids. And I'm talking to him and he's like, yeah, Lauren, you do that all the time.
He saw it. Your friend saw it?
Yeah. And then he goes, do you remember when we were kids and we went to high school together? You remember when you're like 14 and your dad or anyone is just trying to like really put some knowledge on you. And in your head, you're going, what can I say to make this stop?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And so for him, he's like, yep.
Stop.
Nope.
Yeah.
Caden.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, but it was a big eye opener for me.
Okay, so this is my follow-up to that, though. Did you grow up with your dad? Dad in the picture?
I was raised, yes, but not so much. He was an over-the-road trucker.
Okay.
My mom remarried. I think I've said this on the show before. I was very blessed. I had 2 dads.
Okay.
Like an amazing stepdad that didn't play that stepdad role like he was a dad.
Yeah, he was in your life for sure.
So thankful for him. And then I had my biological dad, who I'm so thankful for too.
Yeah.
Like one kind of taught me the books and one taught me the streets.
I like it. I like it, yeah.
All perspectives.
Yeah.
That's good.
I am very, very blessed. I got both worlds.
So when you think about like those interactions you had with both of them that kind of shaped you, molded you into the father that you are, did they do the lecture thing too?
I don't recall that being a problem. Now, I know they would come to me and say, hey, listen, Lauren, you're messing up.
Yeah.
Your friends aren't leading you down the right path. You
right.
know that? And you just go, uh-huh. No, and then I'm going to go call them as soon as you're done talking.
Caden.
Yeah. So I know they may not have necessarily did what I did, but I know I treated them or responded kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times oftentimes parents parent in the way that they were parented or in the way they wish they were parented.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of times what happens is like heavy authoritative parents, dads, a lot of times they'll follow in that same way or no rules. Right. Whatever you want to do, let's do it. I'm the best dad in the world. Woo! And it's like, actually you're creating madness around you and your family. Like it's not great. It's not a good situation, but yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I've always said too on parenting, a lot of parents, they'll ask the kid, and you want the kid's input, but at the same time though, there's a reason, you don't drive till you're 16, you don't get tattoos till you're 18, you don't necessarily go work for some, there's a reason these age restrictions are in place. And letting an 8, 10, or 12-year-old just call the shots.
Not a great idea.
It's just not. It's not healthy for them. It's not healthy for the family. In my opinion, you're creating an environment that this kid is just going to think the whole world, like I call shots.
Right.
You don't.
Yeah.
You might even in this household, but once you get out, you're going to realize you don't.
Right. Well, a lot of things you brought up are like cultural to America, those ages that you're talking about. What's fatherhood like in Brazil?
I don't think it differs a lot. I don't think it's very different from here.
Really? It's pretty similar.
Yeah, very similar. I mean, of course, just now I'm learning about parenting from my perspective. But I mean, my parents, I mean, there's a lot of old school, just like here, old school parents that are very authoritative.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's anything different from here. But for me, I'm just learning how to be a parent now. So everything's very new for me. I keep asking people, what's the hardest age for a son or daughter? Nobody has a Adam saying 4. You guys clearly, I think you think it's a teenager.
I think no.
What do you think, AJ?
The hardest one is the one that you're in at that moment. Is what I would say.
I think you're right, but the problem with me is that I've got a 16-year-old and a 5-year-old and everything in between. So it's just like, I guess my life's we're just gonna be in this madness until I'm 50.
That's what you're to me, and I give the analogy all the time. Like, so my brother has 5 kids, you got 6, but like you are barely head above water. I mean, there's like this survival mode to an extent. But I mean, you're juggling a whole lot of things.
But let's be real. Let's be real. My wife Rebecca's head is barely above water.
Right.
I mean, like she is an unbelievable parent. She, without Rebecca, man, I don't even know what would be happening. I can't even imagine life without it. But like, together as a team, we're constantly thinking about how do we aim these 6 souls that God's given us in a way that would glorify Him and like shape them and mold them into the people that we would be proud of, that the Lord would be proud of, and that the community would be glad that they're there. Mm-hmm. Hardest age range, like for me, it really it depends on the kid's personality. And this is what's so crazy, man. I've got 6 girls, and they're each so different. It blows me away how, like, our first, I won't say names because that would be embarrassing. Rhymes with Tia. But so like our first, she would do something wrong, disobedient against the rules. We just look at her and she's like, I'm so sorry, Dad. Right. I'm so sorry. And I'm telling him, I'm like, I think I'm parent of the year, man. I must be parenting. Why is it? Everyone says it's so hard. This is easy. All I do is just look and say no. And she just changes. This is awesome. Let's have a second. This is cake. And then the second was like, she knows how to hotwire a car. Like, she's like 3 months old. Like, what in the world? Like, we had to get our arms around Claire a little bit. And like, dude, Claire at 2 was tough. Yeah. Claire at 3 was tough. And now they're just perfect little angels.
Yeah.
Right. But like it so depends. Every kid, it depends on their age as to where they're tough. Like, let me ask you this: how many hours is Julian sleeping a night right now?
4.
4. It's not bad.
I know. Yeah,
it's not bad.
I think he sleeps like for 4 hours straight, and then he wakes up, and then 2 more hours or 1.
Yeah.
But yeah. He never sleeps a full
Is he a
night.
pretty easygoing baby?
As of now, yeah.
Yeah, so you're like such an easygoing guy. You're just like chill. I think he's going to have that a little bit.
Do you think so?
I think so, man. Dude, you're so easygoing.
I don't know. I mean, I can't wait for him to start walking, running, talking.
Dude, you can't, that's not what you're thinking. You're thinking dribbling the soccer ball.
Well, that's why I want him to run to learn how to play soccer.
the way that he's shaped, is he going to be a goalie or a forward?
No, he's going to be a center forward.
You already know. You already know.
He's going to score a lot of goals for sure.
Oh, wow, sure. And here, the kid is going to probably hate soccer
and play golf.
Yeah,
that's
golf.
okay. That's
he's going to be like, Dad, I want to be a professional bowler. Like that's just like kids are always going to throw. So this is something kind of cool to transition to, like, and I think you hit on it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I think maybe more in men, we're like, man, my son he's going to be good at this and good at that. We have this like, this is where we want him to go.
Yeah.
And then I think you realize at some point, really my job is to help, my son Ashton to be the best Ashton that he inspires to be. Mm-hmm. And so like checking in with him periodically, like, hey, what are you working towards right now? What is something you inspire to be? and then holding them accountable and asking like, hey, this is what you told me. You know, if you're wanting to go in a different direction, let's talk about it.
He sets the goals.
Right. Because I don't, I think for the longest time, like I wanted him. One big disappointment. I had disappointment. I don't even like that word. But like my son got into golf, and I'm like, heck yeah, dude! Like we can golf for the rest of our life. It's like one of those sports you can do the rest of your life. This is great. Yeah. And then he's good at it. So we were going to Peoria to this junior PGA league, and he's just doing good, and he's got a great golf stroke. And I'm like, this can get free college. And then after like 2 years of it, he's just like, I'm good, Dad. I think I'm gonna try something else, And I'm like, what are you? In my head, I was like, what are you talking about? Something else. This is the most fun you can have. Yeah. But
when I talk about soccer, of course, I just joke around. But sure. I mean, I don't really think like I should be that much as a influence on deciding what my kid will like or not. Of course, he will know what I like because he was gonna be around me. But I don't. Do you guys think that the parents should be the main influence on what career your kids will take? Do you think that's a positive thing or negative?
So your statement, I pulled 2 points out of it. Okay, should parents be the main influence? And then on the career, should parents be the main influence on a child's life?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that I agree. I'm talking about career.
Yeah. So career. So influence. I'm thinking about nurturing who God's wired them to be, gifts that values. This is who we are. I've said this before. The biggest reason that I became a follower of Jesus Christ is because Dave and Diana Reynolds showed me what it means to follow Jesus. Like every day, inside and out, from the way they lived their lives. Those values were instilled into me just by who they were, not because someone preached at me, just because of who they are. That's how we pass along values, right? But then career, it's like, man, at some point, your child has to have a passion for their own life. And this is, Psalm 127 says it really well. It describes children as arrows in the quiver of a warrior. So think about like, this is, let's go old school. This is written in the Old Testament. So let's go like 400 BC. How did you get an arrow? You chopped down a tree. You took down a branch. You had a stick, and then you would take a knife and you would shave it and shave it and shave it and shave it and shave it until what? Until you pull it back and let it go. And the influence we have is the shaving and the shaving and the shaving and the shaving. And then at one point, and this is where I'm like, Jesus help me. Man, I've got older daughters now where I can feel the pulling the arrow back in the bow. And I can feel my fingers needing to let go. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to let go yet. Do I? But at some point, you gotta let it fly. Or you're gonna be that helicopter parent that's trying to control every part of your kid's life. And all you're doing, at some point, over caring for your kids in that way, like trying to make decisions for them, it doesn't help them. It actually hurts them, I think, in a lot of ways. I see people that they struggle with that for the rest of their life.
One thing that I remember a lot my parents saying is that they're raising me and my brother for the world, not for us to stay behind or under them or being protected by them.
So even when you were younger, they were telling you that?
No. When I was like 10 years old, of course, it's different. But like when I was 15, I was playing soccer already. There was a guy from north of Brazil that went down south where I was living. He liked what he saw. He saw me playing soccer. And then he said, I want to take your son to north of Brazil to play soccer.
And that's when you moved?
That's when I moved.
When you were 15? Wow.
It's the same as going from Florida to Seattle. But of course, where I was, there was good housing, good food, people cooking for me. I had drivers for me. I had everything at that age. Yeah. But if it wasn't for them talking to me that they are raising us to prepare for us to be prepared for the not fair, unfair world that we live, I don't think I would have left when I was 15. But when I was 15, I was like, yes, I want to go. Yeah. you know? And my parents, they let me go. And my parents went there to visit me to see if everything was all right. And it was good. And I stayed there for 4 years. After that, I went straight to Europe, lived in Europe. Now I'm in the United States. So since I was 15 years old, I don't live in my parents' house.
Since you were 15 years old?
Yeah. And my brother was the same. My brother left home when he was 16. Not left home. He started working when he was 16 as an intern. Then he came to the United States when he was like 18. So I just think it's better to prepare your kids and say whatever you think that will actually be reality, instead of just telling your kid, no, we always here. If anything happens, just stay here with us. And then you're 30 years old. No, just stay here with us. It's all right.
Oh my God.
That's the part that I really don't agree with parents doing.
Yeah.
The kids like 18, no, it's all right. Don't need to think about what you're going to do in life. You can stay here with us.
One that gets me is so many parents will be like, oh, poor Victor. I mean, he just keeps catching bad break after bad break. He's 23. He's still living in your basement. And no offense.
They just told me that when they were here last time.
Yeah.
When they were...
but like, and I know situations happen, right? So if you're 23 living in your mom's basement, don't feel bad. But like, I mean, maybe if you've been there this whole time, maybe you should start doing some reflecting or something, and teach their own. But I just, when you're fed excuses after excuses from the people that you very like, at what point is it the parent really keeping the kid around for their own well-being or something? And it's like, eventually it's like the whole bird, they got to push the baby out of the nest and learn to fly here at some point.
I've heard it called toxic generosity. We're like, we're generous. I'm going to care. I'm going to care. I'm going to care.
Yeah.
I'm going to solve all of their problems. But then at some point as adults, they don't know how to solve any problem.
Right.
And with really great intentions,
right,
oftentimes we can cross the line. And guys, I've done, Rebecca and I have done to some degree what your parents did. We're like, we told our kids, we're preparing you to go. Psalm 127, you're an arrow, and the Lord is using us to file you down, and then we're going to shoot you off. And I totally got that until my oldest daughter got her license, got into a car, and drove away. And I was like, actually, I'm not ready for that. Can you just come? Let's actually,
Right. Like, the arrow's not sharp enough.
right. Yeah. Like, until I saw taillights of the Corolla driving away, I was like, oh no, like this is happening. And what I've got to be careful of is like the part of my identity where I always want her to be safe. I always want, and not just her, all of my kids. I want them all to be safe. I want them always to be protected. But if that's the case, then they never have opportunities to learn. And the greatest moments in my life that the Lord's used to teach me, to shape me, to mold me, aren't my successes. They're my failures.
Right.
So this is like part of what we've got to prepare our kids for in some degree, I think, is to have the character to be able to get back up, display the values that we want to in the hardest moments of their lives. For us is to be able to depend on the Lord, to seek after him, and be able to go, okay, now, God, what are you teaching me in this moment?
I love being able to look at stuff. I try to take great pride in this, but like when a situation or a problem is put in front of you, like there's a positive in here. There's an opportunity in here. And let's not panic and start, I try to keep pretty chill, and be level-headed and say, okay, what is being shown to me here? What am I, the initial reaction, everyone is going to do this. Let's not do that. What is being shown to me? What options are here?
You said the keyword's opportunity.
Yeah.
The keyword's opportunity. Yeah.
Some friends of mine just went to Jamaica a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And they got back in my buddy said, he said his favorite part of the whole trip was one of the drivers, the guys that are around every day. He said, in Jamaica, we have no problems. It's just situations. And like, that was like his favorite thing from the whole trip. It's like, there are no problems. These are only situations.
Lauren,
how was my Jamaican accent?
Lauren, that was the best Jamaican accent.
We got no problems.
You took me right back to Cool Runnings and like John Candy.
You could see him, huh?
Yeah,
the Jamaican bobsled team. Jamaica man.
Yeah. Oh man, this is
Have you ever seen Cool Runnings? I guarantee no. I knew it. I knew
What
it.
is that? Is that a movie? Or?
All right.
Yeah, it's about
podcast canceled.
Yeah.
Let's get it on right now.
But no, it's a funny movie. Like it's about a bobsled team, and like in bobsled is on like Jamaica. Who in the world thinks Jamaica has
It's a real
bobsled?
story though. Actually. They're in the Olympics.
It's from what, late 80s, early 90s?
Early 90s.
Probably early 90s. That's why I knew he hadn't seen it. But we'll have movie night, bro.
Okay, for sure.
Man, parenting is fun though. I can tell you that.
Greatest joy of my life. Greatest joy of my life.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Did you have 6 daughters trying to have a son?
Well, I mean, like, we weren't intentionally trying to have 6 girls.
Were you intentionally trying to have 6 children?
Listen, so we, when Rebecca and I were in the process of getting married, we met with a pastor. We had this premarital counseling thing, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, like, plan out your life. The next 4 months, plan out the rest of your life. So it was like we're having conversations about what's, how many kids do we want to have? When do we want to start having kids, whatever. And I was like, you know what? I think maybe when we're 30, we can start having kids, and maybe we'll have like 3. And my wife won that discussion. she was like, yeah, you can put it on the form, but that's like,
yeah.
I grew up as an only child for most of my life. So I was adopted at birth. Grew up the only child until I was 14, and then my parents adopted 2 biological brothers. So I went from all boys and my mom in the house to all girls now in our house. But I always wanted a big-ish family. I didn't know how much I wanted. Like as a family of 8, dude, it's so much fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we love it. Like our girls, we say that sisters are best friends that God gave you. So it's like you guys are going to be in the thick and thin forever. I love it. I love being part of a big family.
How does it look like to go to a dinner?
Yeah.
And take 100 people with you.
Yeah. That's what it feels like.
And then foot that bill.
Yeah.
You guys are all getting waters.
So when we show up to Taco Bell, just kidding. kidding, not kidding, but
you guys are sharing a fountain. One fountain drink, you're all sharing it.
Yeah, as what Lord would say. Yeah. But like, so we first off, we all this has been cool. We still have one minivan that we all get into. So all of us can fit in one minivan, which is tight. I mean, it's like tight quarters, right?
Yeah.
And then when we get in the restaurant, like no waitress wants to see a family of 8 walk in. It's like, oh, good. I bet they tip well. Like this is going to be super fun.
Yeah. They're already broke.
And they are correct.
Yeah.
But then like you get in, we're trying desperately trying to get all the orders as fast as we can. Like, what do you want to eat? Do you want, grilled cheese or hamburger, chicken nuggets? What does this look like? Get everything. And then you put all their orders in, then you realize that you have to order your food. You haven't looked at the menu yet. Put it in as quick as you can. But what we're doing now is we try to have intentional conversations at every place that we're at. So never waste a car ride. Never waste going out to eat. Don't just sit at a table. This is what kills us. What kills us is
I know where that's going.
When you do this, right? Like
all of them already have a cell phone?
No. So our oldest 2 have cell phones. We're gonna see how long we can make that last as much as possible. We try to not have our kids get into the world of cell phone until they're in high school.
What's the age of high school? 14?
Yeah, 15, somewhere 14, in there. 15. So we don't our kids don't play organized sports until they're 10, and they can't get a cell phone until they're 15, and they can't date someone until they're ready to get married. So those are the 3 progressions that we've got. What is that? That was a deep gas. Dang.
No, he has a son. If he had a daughter, he would understand.
Yeah, you're the enemy. Yeah. You've got a boy.
Yeah,
I've got girls.
I can tell you, my son, he's a freshman, about to be a sophomore. He went on a date. I mean, he went to a movie with a girl.
How old is he?
14.
14.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think I would let my 14-year-old daughter? She's not there yet, but she ain't going to a movie at 14.
But you're like fist bumping your son. Like,
yeah.
Hey, man,
but if you had a son, what you would think? A 14-year-old and 14-year-old daughter. There would be different things that would allow them to
about
do,
the
right?
dating thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here, I think, there might be some differences in how I think about it, but I still think my values would be the same.
Yeah.
I don't believe in recreational dating. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is just like dating for dating's sake.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What I believe is if you're actually not like we have like people like sign contracts of like what this looks like, they're ready to get married, all that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is can you actually see yourself, the values of this person? Could you see yourself
married?
Yeah, married in the future. And
well, otherwise you're just wasting time.
That's what I see.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, sometimes what I see in young people is the reason I date is for status. And that just means that I'm using the other person or I'm getting used by the other person. And I don't want my daughters to either cause that or to be part of that. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to guard against with them.
Okay.
I think one thing that's tough too with dating is like almost like for the wrong person, right? Like I feel empty. I need someone to fill this. Now you're relying on that other person to bring happiness or to bring joy or, to, rub my back. I mean, it's like you have to get very kind. There's grown-ups out here that don't know what they want. They don't know who they are. And it's because it's funny, I'm reading this book right now. It's probably random it comes up, but like solitude, you got to spend some time investing in yourself to know what values are important to you, what characteristics are important to you. And if you don't know what is important to you, all you're going to do is start seeing your partner and what's important to them. And that stuff just becomes important to you. And then next thing you know, you've spent 20 years molding yourself to someone else's goals and ambitions, and you didn't, don't even know what you were after, and then you're feeling empty. Does that make sense?
100%. So yeah, I think what you're articulating, Lauren, in a lot of ways is what the New Testament and the Bible describes what a gospel-centered marriage should be. So a marriage centered around the gospel of Jesus Christ, that is his life, death, and resurrection. What it should look like is a wife eagerly looking to go to her husband and say, how can I sacrifice what my dreams, my desires for yours? That it happens over and over and over again. And simultaneously at the same time, a husband looking at his wife saying, how can I sacrifice my dreams? And now we're serving each other to be able to have ours. And it's not, so the goals of our family aren't mine. They're not yours. They're ours, and how we serve one another. And this is the picture that marriage is supposed to represent, and the picture that my marriage to Rebecca represents on her best moments and our best days.
That's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I just saw an analogy. It was like trying to explain the difference between like and love. And it was broken down so simply. It was really cool. Like is you see this beautiful flower, you clip it and you put it in a vase in with water, and you look at it and you admire it, and it's so lovely, but eventually it's going to dwindle. It's going to dry out and die and not be so appealing. Where love is that like constant nurturing, providing water, pruning leaves, taking care of, and growing, to where this plant is here.
It's the nourishing aspect of it. Yeah.
Right. So that's really what I found really, it was like, my brain operates really good on analogies. Yeah. It always has. So that was like, it was like, that makes sense. Cause you go out, like you mentioned the status. Yeah. Someone's like, man, I can, like Victor will look real good hanging on the wall here for a couple months.
Of course.
But, if we don't nurture and take care and nourish and make sure he continues to grow, he's just gonna end up like broken, unhappy, and both of you are, and now you're looking for that next shiny.
Because in that example, he's being used by someone,
right?
Right, and that's never a good thing. C.S. Lewis, one of my favorite authors, he describes the different types of love that the Bible talks about, and there's 3 different levels of love in the Greek language that the New Testament is written in. So we say love, love, love. And there's actually 3 different words in the Greek that the Bible talks about. So we say, I love chili dogs and I love my wife. And those better mean different things or we're in trouble, right? Like that better mean different things. So the three different levels that C.S. Lewis talks about is the first word for love in the Greek is eros. And that's where we get the English word erotic from. It's the temporary puppy dog. It's very based on what's happening. It's the butterflies in our stomach.
Oh, that's my favorite kind.
Okay, so it can be super fun. It's infatuating, right?
It feels great.
This is what allows teenagers to actually believe they're in love, right? But what do they say? I'm in love, which means that I can fall out of love. I'm falling in love, which means you can fall out of love.
Right.
Okay. So it's the quickest, it's the earliest, it's the shallowest type of love. Okay.
Right.
I love when you look this way. I love when you do this, but when you stop doing that or you stop looking this way,
right,
the love's gone. The second is philos, and this is where we get the term Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. This is a love that's based off of duty. Okay, so we would all understand this in some degree if we won't admit it on a podcast or not, but like there's some people in our family where it's like, I have to love them. Like not like I love you. It's like I love you.
Old Uncle Larry over there.
Exactly. Like
he's hitting the bottle again.
we've got blood, and this is why I love you.
Right. I still love him though.
It's a sense of duty. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the third and the highest form of love, the type of love that's described in how God loves his people and how he calls his people to love him, is called agape. And the key to agape love is, am I willing to sacrifice for this person? Am I willing to give up something for this person? And that, so we've talked to our kids about that at an early age and really wanted them to understand the form of love that we're called to have for each other is a sacrificial kind of love.
Right.
That's what we want. That's how we want.
Agape.
Agape. That's it, man. You can press your
Well, last
press your
week,
kids
on our episode last week, Victor let me know he does love me.
You did.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
No,
You said it back.
I said it too.
So which one of those love do you have for me?
I don't know. Would you die for me? Would you die for me?
Yeah, I'll die for you right now.
It's agape then.
Okay.
Not philo.
Got you.
Okay, but even the idea that you're like, well, do you agape me? Yeah, like, well, I guess I agape you.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Then
Like
I
that, even that's a
agape you.
conditional statement, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
No, man, that's good.
The thing with the marriage thing, that's you said you would only allow them to date someone if they are ready to get married, or maybe not ready.
Or if
but
they
maybe
view
if
them.
if they see them as being married one day. What would you do if you have a 16-year-old daughter that have a friend in high school? She says she likes him.
Yeah.
Then they want to date each other, but to me, a 16-year-old should not know if they would marry someone, yeah or no.
Yeah.
They shouldn't take that decision by 16-year-old. How do you deal with that?
And the difficulty in this question is that we're in that coaching stage that we talked about earlier, where I still so when they were 12, training the discipline stage, I can go, no, that's not happening, right? Well, I rarely want to do that in the training stage because I want them to build up their discernment, their ability to make decisions. I want the greatest goal that we have, Rebecca and I have said this, and said this to our daughters too. The greatest goal that we have is their senior year, we don't have any restrictions on their life. Because we want them to be able to have a year where they're able to make decisions on bedtime, on curfew, on where they're going, on how many hours they're working, on extracurriculars, on getting homework done, all of those things for a full calendar year under our roof so we can coach it.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
But to get to that point, we've got to teach them how to make decisions.
Yeah.
So that means I rarely pull out the nah. Now, we're trying to move in this direction where, and it's not they're making the decision. Oh, you know what? I totally could marry that person. But we're talking it out with them. We're coaching them on it. Do you see this? Asking questions on this. Sending them with questions to ask the person. We've done that as well. But then ultimately, at the end of the day, if they're going to make a decision that I think is going to harm them, it's not happening. Like,
It's my job as your father
Right.
to protect you.
But it's also my job to build their ability to make decisions and to discern.
Right.
So I'm trying to give them and have honest conversations with them along the way. So like I don't want to under promise and over deliver, or over deliver and under promise. I want to have honest conversations with them. So it like this has been tough, and also with 6 girls, I'm setting the precedent early on now with how this will happen for the rest of our kids, right?
Yeah.
So like other kids are watching, like, do we really mean this? Is this really the culture of our family? What's really happening?
Right.
And let me be really clear too. Like, I'm not saying, when I say dating, I'm saying exclusively one-on-one relationship with another person, right? That's what we're trying to like reserve as a next step upon a next step upon a next step, where, hey, I'm interested in this person. Awesome. Go get to know them in a group setting.
Sure.
Like there's something you go hang out with your friends. They're there. Go spend time getting to know them and see how they interact with other people. All of that's incredibly important.
Yeah.
So it's not like we don't have like daughter kennels in our basement, like where they're hanging out. We're bringing them like grilled cheese and water like once a day. But we're trying to create an environment where they're able to learn and able to be protected at the same time. And sometimes it feels like when you're parenting, those are at tension at times. It's tough, man.
When it comes to that type of conversation, do you think boys are easier to deal than girls, or do you think it would be the same type of thing?
I've never had a conversation with a son before, but I'm a pretty emotional guy. Mm-hmm. So I connect with my daughters on an emotional level pretty easily, where I don't know if that's true for most dads. You know, like I think like my dad, Dave Reynolds, amazing man, loves the Lord, amazing example of what it means to be a husband and what it means to be a dad. But like, he's not an emotional connector.
Do you want something to cry about?
Something around that. Yeah,
that's how mine.
Phrase.
Yeah, mine too.
So we're like, I'm like teaching our daughters like biblical counseling strategies. Yeah. Like, okay, so when you did that, what do you think you like really motivated?
Tell me
by?
how you felt.
Yeah, and it's like what in the world? And in a lot of ways we joke about it. We joke about it in our family, but in a lot of ways, like that's not natural for Rebecca. Rebecca isn't naturally doesn't have a natural emotional connection, where I do. Where Rebecca is very faithful, very consistent, very dependable, and where I'm like, do you want to talk about feelings? And it's like this feels in some way like culture shifts a little bit. But those are the conversations that we know, and we say this all the time. Reynolds are weird, so Reynolds work hard, and Reynolds are weird. And one of the ways that we're weird is we're willing to have these kind of conversations on a daily level, not like on a monthly or biannual or you know, like I can probably count on one hand the amount of emotional conversations I have with my parents, where I want these to be very consistent with my kids, that we're constantly talking about what's going on here, because we believe the Bible teaches that whatever's going on here is demonstrated by what we do with our behavior. So if I want to change what's happening in the world, I need to change my heart.
Yeah. And parenting, it's quite the joy. I will tell you, from having a son and a daughter, is
it different?
Oh man, it's 100%. But I mean, you even know, even just daughters, you can't talk to one daughter the same way you talk to the other daughter, because they're emotional, mentally, spiritually, everything different. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, so is my son and daughter. I mean, like, you know, man, I can like get on one of them and it might emotionally just like wreck them for a little bit, where the other one's like, Dad's losing it again. You know, and it's like, so yeah, it's just night and day. And one thing I try to do my best, this is another like aha parent moment that I've had, is, you know, we grow up and we're like, think our parents are on this pedestal, right? Like they are superheroes.
For sure.
And then we don't realize growing up that they are human. They are learning. I know you've heard me say this too. My mom used to always tell me this, and I love it. I didn't at the time, but like, you didn't come with instructions. Right. I'm doing the best I can. Right. You know, and it like, it's so true. Like, but we don't get it in that moment as a kid. And it never really ahaed until me being an adult. And it's like, dude, I'm messing up here, guys. Yeah. I'm doing my best. Bear with me. Right. You know? But yeah, we're all learning this together, dude. This is my first time being a dad, you know. Sorry, I butchered that opportunity, you know.
Do you tell them that?
Oh, yeah.
When you make a mistake?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. I am so... One thing I take pride in, my dad was more of this boot would come out of nowhere and hit you in the rear end. And it was kind of up to you to figure out where it went wrong and why you just got kicked in the butt. And so like me, like if I lose my stuff, which it doesn't happen very often, if I do, it's like a 4-minute window where I'm coming back and I'm like, you guys, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Like I handled that terribly. Yeah. I did not need to get that worked up. Like, you dropped a cupcake on the floor, it's fine, you know, or it's something stupid, you know, but where that was like a big aha moment for me is like, man, this is a struggle and I'm struggling too. Like you know, these are kids trying to find their way. I'm a dad trying to find my way.
100%.
And my situation a little different than you guys. I mean, I don't have a wife.
Yeah.
You know, we tried that.
Yeah.
And God, we talk about blessed. I mean, I have a co-parent that's out of this world.
Yeah.
You know, we are amazing co-parents. We just, for some reason, the marriage thing we tried it twice.
Yeah.
Trust me, it didn't work either time.
Tried hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have tried hard, being older and more mature now, you know, but yeah, it sucked. Here's we are. But yeah, I'm over here trying, I have 2 kids. It's just me.
Yeah.
And then same with her when she's got them. It's just her, you know, but man, we talk and communicate basically daily, you know, just like we're still into this together.
I'm really glad you guys viewed it as like you're still operating as a team in that.
Well, for me, it was I grew up in every other weekend, you know, going to dad's, going here,
pretty
going
typical.
here.
Yeah.
And there was maybe some bitterness, you know, and, you know, I just knew right away, hey, damn it, this is what's being placed. But I'll be damned if we're going to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
So let's swallow all of our pride.
Good for you.
We have to.
Yeah.
This ain't about Lauren anymore.
Right.
And it's not about her. We got to make sure that these 2 kids have like the best opportunity. And I'll share this. This is like something I'm super passionate about. I wish most men and women who go through divorce would hear this. But what kind of world are we in if I like to use this. So you ask my kids, who's most important in your life? They're going to say like, mom and dad. Mom and dad. So who am I as a dad to purposely see mom fail, mom not succeed, mom not out here killing it? Yeah. I want her to get the best job she can. Yeah. I want her to be the best parent she can. I want her to be the best, happiest, if she ends up getting married, wife. I mean, the better she is, the better my 2 children are going to be. So who on earth is out here? And there's so many in our world, man, that are out here like, man, I hope the next guy treats her like crap. You know, I hope she gets taken for everything.
That's terrible, man.
I hope. Why? So then your kids are left like just as screwed? I don't know. So that's something that's always been very near and dear to my heart, is like, I got to continue to lift her up. I don't want anything but the best in the world for her.
I love the heart that you shared with that, Lauren. Like, you were like, man, I got to swallow that pride.
Yeah.
Right. And because those thoughts, I'm sure, come up at some point. They come up in my life too, where I want to be the center. I want to be the model of success. I want to be, when my kids think about strong, dependable, always faithful, always correct, perfect super dad,
right?
AJ Reynolds. And guess what? It ain't true.
And then the balloon went.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you let the air out.
Right.
And the reality is, I think a lot of times we put pressure on ourselves to be an example to our children of perfectionism.
Yeah.
When actually we're just called to be an example to our kids. So even in our failure. So how does dad handle failure? How does dad handle pride? How does dad handle fill in the blank? And then how we handle our shortcomings will instruct our kids on how to handle them too. And if we want, in your situation, if we want mom to fail and hold bitterness, then I'm the center of my world. Then anything that I do in my life, man, screw them. This is what's happening. I'm number one. Or how can I help make this better? How can I make them better?
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing. Or when I fail and I blow up my kids, to come back to them in 45 minutes and go, Dad messed up. Mm-hmm. Dad messed up. Well, this is how I handle failure. This is how I handle forgiveness.
Right.
Instead of hanging on to that in my heart. And that's a beautiful thing that you're giving your kids in a lot of different ways, Lauren.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I
man.
try.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. This is a whole lot of fun talking about dad stuff.
Yeah, you guys are fun.
I hope you enjoyed coming in and chilling with us.
It was good.
I hope everyone out there, if you got one little tidbit to help you be a better man or woman, a parent or whatever. Let's plug this, dude.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here,
yeah.
Maybe someone's listening like, man, this is some good stuff. AJ, you sit down with folks individually, couples, whatever. So if you're out there and you feel you want to sit down and you like kind of some of the topics and things that we covered, this is a dude totally open and willing to sit down. Why don't you let people know how they can reach out to you, or what way, shape, or form if they find that as an opportunity?
Yeah, so like 4 or 5 years ago, our church desperately wanted to reach out into our community. Like Jesus says, love your neighbors as yourself. And we were totally confused because at that point, all of our neighbors were goats in the middle of the country. So like, who are we supposed to love and how are we supposed to do this, right?
Right.
So we were 7 miles north of town in the middle of a farming community. Well, we actually met with, we asked 1,000 people in our community, if a church could do anything to love you better, what would it do? Number one answer we got from that survey, be there for me when I'm hurting. And we know that in Monmouth, there's not a lot of counseling options, let alone Christian counseling options. So we decided we're going to sell our building. We're going to move into town. So we're in the 250 South 1st Street. It's the old Baptist church building, right across the street from Turnbull's funeral home, right across the street from the post office. And we offer free biblical counseling. If you're willing to open up the Bible and see if God might have an answer to your problem, no matter who you are, where you've been, or what you've done, we believe God loves you, and he'll show you that love by being loved through his church. So we want to display it. So the best way to get a hold of me is, you can go to our website, highpoint.church. You can also go, you can email me at areynolds@highpoint.church, or you can give us a call at our office number, 563-468-3088. We just want to be an arm of Christ into our community. And we've helped now, since we've done that study, it's really awesome. We've helped over 75 families.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. Super, super challenging, but so rewarding to be able to help people. We tell people all the time, we want to do the unthinkable. We want to be a church that actually earns our tax exemption status. We want to we want to help our community, and this is a huge need that we have.
Right.
So if we can help, please reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Whether it's life, love, relationships, it feels easy. Everyone would be out here killing it.
You're right.
That's not the case. But thank you so much,
Thank you,
for
AJ.
coming in. AJ Reynolds, I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, Lauren. Appreciate you.
All right.
See you guys
Peace
next
out.
week.
Talk About It podcast. We'll bring it back with someone different. Thank you for watching this episode of the Talk About It podcast.
I'm Victor Dantes.
I'm Lauren Fulmer.
And we would encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell. It's going to be right below the video. So you
Hit
guys,
the bell.
so you know when the next episode is up. All
We
right?
appreciate all the support.
Thank you.